Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Game 1 of this Best of 5 series as we start off this game on the map of Data C. Spawning here at the bottom left, we have our blue Terran player. Give it up for Team Liquid's Clem.
And his opponent spawning in the top right-hand corner of the map. From Dragon Phoenix Gaming, it is Korea's Hero. Alright, so we have a foreigner versus a Korean. I feel like that's a matchup that we don't get to see too commonly, but of course we are treated to that here in DreamHack Valencia.
Yeah, I think the format of DreamHack is that, each player plays in their region to compete, and then after all that is done, go into the main event, and all the players from every region collides and clashes, and yeah, it does make for some exciting series because, as you mentioned earlier, they don't really get to play against one another that often. So, and this is going to be a LAN event, so things like lag and ping not going to be the issue here.
Yeah, sometimes when you get Koreans playing on the EU servers or when you get Europeans playing on the Korean servers, you get crazy ping spikes, or not even ping spikes, but just consistently high ping. I have no idea how these pro players do it, how they manage 200 ping or something like that. At that point, it's like your reaction might as well not even happen.
I know, right? Like, for me, even if I experience just a little bit of ping, it just really throws me off.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I just play exponentially worse. So I don't know how these pro players play, especially when on their level, every microsecond counts.
Right, definitely. Speaking of which, that stalker popped out just in time for the Reaper to head across the map. Looks like we're gonna see a Twilight first from Hero. Nothing too out of the ordinary. I mean, it is Hero, right? So I would be surprised if it wasn't Blink.
Yeah, it looks like a Hero these days. Playing primarily Twilight Council play. Usually Stalker openings with Blink. Will he surprise us? It doesn't look like it.
Oh my gosh, Snoopy, that's crazy, man. I'm so surprised. Wow. This is crazy.
Madness.
I know, right? What are we seeing? Is this even StarCraft? Oh man.
Is this
now I do like what. Yeah, I do like what Clem is doing. He is sending out a Hellion to meet up with the Reaper. You usually only see that against Zerg, but I think in this case there is potential for some damage. Yeah, look at that. The Stalker is not gonna stay on the low ground. Okay, alright. For a second there, it looked like it was gonna get a little bit more damage, but it's not gonna be the case.
Oh, will this Hellion go down? Nope.
What?
Oh, actually, yes.
Okay. Now, as a follow-up, it looks like Clem is going for that very safe standard sort of 3 barracks plus a Raven plus a tank opening. I think he's sort of aware of Hero's reputation and doesn't really want to risk anything.
Yeah, no, it's going to be really important for Clem to make sure that he covers the high ground here in his main base. Doesn't want Stalker to kind of blink in now. As I say that, it's a bit more difficult on this map specifically because the way the layout is. There's really only one way the Stalkers can blink in, and it's not the most ideal area to blink in because there is a
right.
It's kind of a cliff area, so there are chances where your Stalkers can, mistakenly blink onto that lower cliff area.
Speaking of mistakenly blinking, Hero did blink onto the high ground, but immediately there was a regiment of Marines to take care of that problem. Now, they did try to focus fire on the Raven, but there will be an SCV here to heal it up. So instead, Hero's just going to blink into the low ground over at the natural, eating a couple of tank shots. I don't think this is going too well for Hero.
Yeah, great. Just tank positioning by Clem. No, actually, not even just tank, just army positioning. Having the Marines take care of the high ground. And then, of course, zoning out these stalkers with the tanks.
Yeah, so now that Raven is basically free to harass on the other side of the map now that the stalkers have been mostly dealt with. There is a tank in place, so that the stalkers will eat a couple more tank shots. Now look at this, the Raven putting down its turrets. They are such high DPS. Oh my gosh, they're actually going to force a recall.
Yeah, this is I guess it's not game-ending damage, but it's not the greatest start for Hero. Stalkers did absolutely nothing across the map, and then obviously, forcing Clem forcing the recall, which can come in useful later on, and so we'll see if that does play a factor in the next couple of minutes. But here we go, Clem gonna go ahead and start poking at the third. A bunch of static defenses dropping here, but
oh, poor probe. Sent out ahead of everybody else just to make sure, just to confirm if there's an army. Now this Colossus could not have come at a better time. Excellent pickup micro with the medevacs, allowing that one tank to siege up with its brethren over in the back. However, shield battery overcharge is contributing a lot to this fight. The Immortal able to continuously do damage. Looks like for now the push has been stopped, so very well played by Hero. Able to deal with it adequately and on time. And it looks like he might try to do a +1/+1 follow-up, or maybe it's just a little skirmish in the middle of the map. Now, I have to say, Clem, if there's one thing he's known for, it's for his multitasking, it's for his drops. He's sending in a double drop with a Widow Mine in one of the medevacs over into the main base, so now we're going to get to see this war of multitasking.
yeah, I don't think a couple of stalkers is going to be enough. It looks like he will go ahead and ferry a Colossus, which you don't see every day. But that does open up. Do you see every day?
Yeah. Oh, another shield battery overcharges pop, but that pulled the rest of the army out of position, so things are not looking good for Hero. This is, this is the strength of Clem, right? He is one of the players that we would call a Terran's Terran. Like, he's just so good at all of these things that are pretty emblematic of what makes a Terran a Terran.
Yeah, I think that is the reason why he is considered the best Terran in the EU scene. And it's plays like this that has allowed him to take a nice, decent lead here. 60 or so workers even up, but of course you gotta factor in those mules. And let's take a look at the income graph. Yeah, a huge spike here for our blue Terran.
Oh, look at that. I didn't even think that the Raven was still alive, but it's still here, still dealing damage, with that auto turret. Man. Forcing the blink. Now, we shouldn't count Hero out of the game just yet as well, right? He is going to initiate some harass over in the main base. A few Zealots are going down, a few probes are going down, a few SCVs are going down. Both players just keeping each other honest, and this is, it might look boring because it's not some big, army versus army type of fight, but this is equally difficult, if not more difficult, because you have to multitask.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of small wars happening all over the place, and as you all know, actually small battles to be precise. And in the war, most wars at least, it comes down to small battles adding up into the whole.
Yeah, right.
Some battles are larger than others, but all in all, they all add up.
You can really see the toll that this is taking on both players. Not Clem, really. He's about to complete his 4th command center, which is absolutely amazing. But specifically, Hero has not been able to find the time or the space or the money to put down a 4th Nexus. I mean, he's just been trying to bank up that 3 Colossus, Stalker, Blink sort of army. He's getting that High Templar Archives, which is good. But look at that. A recall going to be forced on these Stalkers. A bunch of them go down before they make it out of there. So, yeah, could Clem be setting up for another attack? I think now is a good time as any, right? He's got a bunch of medevacs. He's got a bunch of Vikings. And most importantly, he's got those nice high-tech ghosts, which are going to be able to EMP a bunch of Archons, a bunch of Stalkers, basically everything.
Alright, looks like
Here we go, so the main engagement. Yep.
Yep.
A bunch of EMPs going down on the main Stalker force. Look at those Stalkers just popping. I mean, those Marauders are dealing so much damage. However, is it going to be enough to force back the Protoss? I don't think so. This Ghost is going to finally go down as well. Blinks are going to continuously be pushed forward. A very good trade for Hero. I thought that was going to go much worse, but it did turn out all right.
Yeah, I think with the help of the shield battery and also some nice micro on the Colossus there in the backside, was able to save his Colossuses, and they were just dealing out so much splash damage. Those very fiery lasers are quite deadly to a bio type army. And yeah, it looks like Hero will be able to kind of hold for the time being, although I still do like Clem's position.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's ahead economically, he's ahead in the supply, so Hero's really on a timer right now to try to take down his Terran opponent. This is a little bit of a desperation move. I do like the Disruptors, but I don't think they're going to be out in time. I think that eventually Clem is just going to reach a point where he can overwhelm this army. He does put down another set of EMPs. Once again, bringing those Stalkers down to half-life. Archons in the front are also going to start taking some damage as well. These Colossi not able to keep up. I mean, this is just not going well for Hero.
Yeah, he's even getting harassed in the backside with the Raven auto turret while trying to attack at this front here, but with the defender's advantage, I think Clem should eventually, ideally, push this back. Even pulling the SCVs here, getting this around, all these Immortal are going to get sniped and evaporated.
Yeah, look at that stutter micro with the Vikings. I don't think I've ever seen that before in a professional match. Now the Disruptor is here, it's going to whiff, it's not even going to hit the Widowmine, so GG is called. Clem is going to take game number 1.
Here we are, guys, for game number 2 on the map of Moondance. Here we have at the top left a red shiny Protoss hailing from Korea and playing for the team of Dragon Phoenix Gaming. It is Hero.
And his opponent displaying his excellent use of mid-game micro and multitasking. It is our blue Terran player, Clem.
Alright, so since we are on this specific map, TeaDragon, I want to give you a little bit of a trivia question. Are you ready?
Yes, but I'm a little scared now that you mention it.
Alright, so if you were paying attention in history, what year did we land on the moon?
Oh man. I think it was the 60s?
Yep.
Okay. I can't pinpoint a specific year. I'm so embarrassed.
Hey, you did pretty nice though, specifying at least a decade.
Yeah.
But yes, we did indeed land on the moon in the year 1969. Now, the only reason that I know about this is because I, as a kid, would watch this TV show on the Disney Channel called Even Stevens. Have you ever heard of that?
I think I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's you know, where Shia LaBeouf got his breakout role.
Yeah.
And they had one episode where it was a musical episode. So they would break out into song and dance. For some of you that watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, there was also a similar episode where they would go into that was considered their musical episode, and one of these songs was about how we landed in the moon on 1969. So that song stuck on my head. So all these years.
See.
So yeah, that's the only reason why I remember about that.
For sure.
Because who would remember a random detail like that, right?
True. The only reason why I know it was in the 60s is because that was a very, very progressive decade for America. Not just in science, but also in social progress and whatnot. So,
right.
Look at this, Clem just. Man, I just want to look him in the eye and ask him, what are you doing? I mean, I'm kind of blown away by his micro. He's just, when you've got a Protoss Adept, a unit that costs twice as much minerals and deals a hell of a lot more damage than you do, and you've got that on the run from you, that's indicative of your skill, I would say.
Oh yeah. But looks like things are actually adding up here as these two adepts are going to be joined by the Orko. And will this Orko fall to the Cyclone? Yes, it will. Not before getting a Mew. So, wow, getting a lot of damage with these two adepts and the Orko. 5 SCVs, 1 Reaper, and 5 Marines going down.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good. The Marines in the early game, you really need to bank them up as quickly as possible as Terran. On their own, obviously Marines are not that strong, but once you start pairing them up with other units, but also especially once you start building more of them, that's when they really gain their strength. And as you can see right now, 2 Marines are not going to do anything against this army. That Cyclone does also get picked up by the Phoenixes, which I think is a very good choice coming from Hero. Very interesting. Now I have to ask, does he go for Phoenixes often?
Yeah, Hero, one of those players that, while he does go for a lot of gateway style strategies, he is well versed in the Sky Toss openings, as they say. Now this opening here with the Phoenix really provides a lot of kind of flexibility in terms of where he wants to go. He can add in a bunch of gateways and go for like a huge charge lot, or maybe even the depth with glaives, or he can go and transition to Colossus tech and add in Colossus and just go for a standard Protoss army with Colossus, or maybe even Disruptors, who knows.
Yeah, the Phoenixes, they give him a lot of micro potential. Not only are they fast, not only are they air units, but they can also pick up other units with their Graviton Beam. There we go. With their Graviton Beam ability, which of course does cost some energy. Now, I do like this follow-up from Hero. He's going for Charge. Now, what do you think of this pairing?
Well, he is making a lot of gateways. Wow, 6 gateways. Will he add more? I mean, he's up to 8 right now. He could definitely go for a strong timing push. I mean, he's got the Warp Prism. He's adding in pylons. Yeah, he could. I mean, this could time up really nicely with the charge upgrade there.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, a lot of gateways, some pylons being produced, some zealots being produced. This could be a very strong timing. This could cost Clem a 3rd base. This could even cost him the game. But as we all know, it is Clem, and he is excellent at holding these kinds of aggressive pushes as well as attacking.
Alright, looks like he's going to retreat for now. Wait for the charge to upgrade, and then now go ahead and once again pounce on top of the natural of Clem. What does Clem have? Doesn't quite have the bunker up though.
That was a little awkward. The Zealots kind of just sort of took a tour of the natural base. Now, they will finally come in here for good. It looks like the SCVs also know what's up. They're going to be pulled off the line. A lot of SCVs are going to start going down, but I think there are a steady amount of Marines over in the back. However, these Phoenixes are not going down anytime soon. All the Zealots are cleaned up at the cost of 9 SCVs, but the Phoenixes are still standing strong. So maybe, I don't know. I think that, yeah, it looks like Hero is just going to continue warping in and go in for a round 2.
Yeah, this is quite a committed attack. I mean, you can see it reflected in the worker count. Like, even despite losing all those SCVs during that last engagement, the worker count's still even up.
Right.
And so Hero's gonna try to do some extra damage before. I don't know. I just can't see that. I mean, with the bunker up, with the closer reinforcements, with the oh my goodness, these Widow Mines.
Wow. Yeah, it looks like Clem is banking up not just money, but he's spending it on tools that he will need to continue this defense. Not least of all being those Widow Mines. Now, there is a warp in on top on the high ground. I like this. You know, you got to change up your direction. You got to make sure that you engage where the Terran does not want to engage. But is it going to be enough? More Widow Mine shots going off, more Zealots going down. Some Marines are going down, but they're starting to hold strong. They're starting to maintain that steady sort of count.
Yeah, it just seems like the steam of this push is dying down right now, and Clem is going to be able to, I think, eventually fortify and defend and push us off. There is still a decent amount of Phoenixes. Oh, as I say that.
One does go down, yep. Oh, okay, but what I do like is that Hero did not, in fact, stay on 3 bases. He went up to a 4th base. Now, keep in mind that that back 3rd base is kind of like a half base. You know, not as many minerals and only 1 gas geyser, which he is just now taking. So, it's not like Hero is out of the game. It's just that he didn't quite deal enough damage, I would say. So, yeah, we're going to have to wait until Storm comes out, until Clem decides it's time to move out, that kind of thing.
Yeah, certainly the game is not out of reach, but I do like Clem's army a bit better, just because in terms of the numbers, but also because of the upgrades. And oh, looks like we have another Warp Prism drop, but looks like the Vikings will be able to finally shut that down. So no more harassment besides these Phoenixes coming from the our red Protoss friend anytime soon. Oh, poor Marauder.
Oh, its life will be honored in the coming attack. Yeah, it looks like actually Storm is not going to be down on time. Well, of course, Storm is pretty quick to finish, thankfully for the Protoss. So maybe Hero can just hold off until he's got enough Storms out. But at the same time, we have a double Ghost Academy coming up for Clem, and when you give Clem Ghost, that's when things get really, really scary. Oh, these Widow Mine hits! Oh, look at that detonation! So many Zealots getting low on health, so many Phoenixes getting low on health as well. The Zealots are not going to be able to do anything. They're kind of moving back and forth. Oh my gosh. Shield battery overcharges pop. Widow Mines are going to go down. Oh! Oh! The crazy Widow Mine hit. Look at that. More friendly fire than damage on the Phoenixes, I would say. Look at all those low health Marines. Look at the low health medevacs. They're going to have to pick up and get on out of there.
Yeah,
wow.
That was beautifully done there by Hero, drawing the Phoenixes right into the heart of the Terran's army. However, those Widow Mine shots, you know, as much friendly fire damage they did, they also dealt out a lot of damage to those charge blocks. So, like, with some nice kiting, Clem has been able to hold firm outside the base of Hero, but Hero still is enjoying the high ground. However, look at the army. The army just doesn't seem quite as scary.
Yeah, the Archons are really starting to take a lot of damage over in the front. Shield battery overcharges popped once again. It's the Bio really trying so hard to bait the Zealots in. You know, this is where the micro battles really start. And we also have 2 medevacs over at home ready to pick up and possibly do a drop. I mean, we've seen this situation before, right? The Zealots moving back and forth. Finally, the trigger is pulled. The Phoenixes go down pretty much immediately. This time around, the Widow Mines are going to connect on their intended targets, not going down on the bio, which did in fact kite backwards enough. Yeah, it looks like the writing is on the wall. I mean, Hero is almost doubled in supply by his opponent right now. It doesn't look like there's going to be enough for him to handle. More Widow Mine shots are going to go off. It looks like this is going to be the end of this game. GG is going to be called anytime. I mean, Clem recovering very quickly from that decimating Widow Mine hit, taking this game.
And we begin game number 3 on the map of Inside and Out, as we have here at the top left, sorry, the top right. He is down 0-2, looking to change his fate. It is Dragon Phoenix Gaming's Hero.
And on the other side of the map, in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, playing for Team Liquid, it is our blue Terran on match point, Clem.
And my, oh my, what do we have here?
All right. Very, very nice. It looks like a proxy from Hero. Not sure if Clem is going to be able to scout that out in time. Of course, that pylon is in a very good location. It's like very close to the straight path between the two bases, but not quite. Meaning that it's going to be kind of unlikely that Clem scouts it.
Yeah, I mean, unless he sends his Reaper that way, maybe he can kind of graze it and have like a slight vision on it, but...
Right.
Oh man, here we go. Stargate on the way for Hero, and yeah, this is a great area, as the Reaper is gonna completely bypass it.
I love that moment that we just had. The Reaper and the Zealot, they sort of went past each other because they knew how to micro against each other, and they figured, whatever, the Reaper, I'm just gonna keep sending it against that probe, and then I'll go back for the Zealot. I love that little moment.
Yeah, me too. Kind of the game sense of Clem showing up, as finally that Zealot does go down, but again, that Zealot was just a distraction for the Stargate, as that first Oracle is about to pop out.
Yeah, I also really like Clem's game sense and his instinct, because he immediately went for a tech lab on the factory and for a Cyclone. So that Cyclone is going to be instrumental in preventing the Oracle from dealing any further damage. It is going to be able to deal some damage if it goes in immediately. If it goes in right now, oh, it's just going to chill for a second.
Yeah, and I like that, because, you know, there is a possibility that Cyclone can be out, or even the Widow Mine, and you want to have that second Oracle to help snipe out some SCVs, just in case. I wouldn't be surprised if he even waits for a Phoenix to follow up, because the Phoenix can kind of lift up the Cyclone, as well as take out or take a hit from a Widow Mine. But here we go. Looks like he's going to send in those two Oracles and completely snipe out that Cyclone.
Wow.
Nothing left here for him to defend against these Oracles, besides one puny Marine.
Yeah, I like that move a lot. I didn't actually think about that. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out, Snoopy. It actually is more beneficial just to have, you know, a couple of Oracles rather than just one, because one Oracle against one Cyclone is not going to do anything. But in this case, the two Oracles paired together, and now three, they're going to go sharking around these poor Marines. Can you imagine being a Marine on the ground, and all of a sudden these giant floating balls of death come at you, and it's like, oh, I guess I'm dead now.
Yeah. I think many Terrans has found themselves in this scenario where they're playing against just a lot of, even the fourth Oracle. Wow.
I love it. I love it.
Hero, you madman.
I'm sure that a lot of casual fans will remember the StarCraft 2 highlights channel, where they famously highlighted one of Haas's games, one of the few Taiwanese players who are still pretty respected on the scene, where he just went for mass Oracle, and you know, he really showcased the high DPS of this unit.
Oh yeah, they definitely shoot out those pulsar beams quite fast. So you usually gotta have like the exact right counter, or it can snowball out of control. And there we go once again, getting on top of the cyclones. Oh
wow.
Man, yeah.
Look
oh my God, that Oracle.
One Oracle for 2 cyclones. Oh, okay. But a second Oracle does finally go down. Yeah, so this is pretty contentious. Finally, there's gonna be enough Marines to drive this back, but wow.
Yeah, I really feel like Hero should have just stopped at 3 Oracles. After the 3 initial Oracles, I think Clem, you know, is going to be able to have enough anti-air. So usually you want to kind of invest those gas resources to something else.
Right. That makes sense. Well, looks like he's going to be investing plenty of resources into these Stalkers. Oracle is going to do a good job of spotting at the same time these Stalkers are going to be prepping to blink up onto the high ground. Will they be enough to deal with these Marines? It looks like Clem is caught a little bit on the back foot because he will pull these SCVs. That blink micro is excellent. A bunch of Marines are going down. Not too many SCVs, only 3-4 now, but Hero is going to reinforce with more Stalkers over at the front side. So, well, I honestly don't know about this. I think that it's good to sort of shark around and you know, see what you can do, see what kind of damage you can get in. But Sim is just about to finish, and that's going to change this completely. Yeah, look at that. Hero is immediately going to back off. And look at this. What do we have here? What kind of tech is this? It's going to be a DT Shrine. I love it.
You know what? Just follow up with cheese, with another cheese, and then follow up with more cheese, you know? Like.
Yep. Exactly. Oh, that Oracle staying alive just by a little bit of full health. Not too bad. More Stalkers being warped in. And Immortal as well, so it looks like Hero is definitely looking to round out his army composition.
Man, Hero just like all over the place. You got the 4 Stalker hit squad, got the War Prism. I mean, theoretically, you can attack in like 3 places at once if you want to, but looks like you will go ahead and go up the natural here.
Yeah, Hero really doing an excellent job of, you know, poking and prodding in multiple places at once at the same time. With his Stalkers, you know, just making sure that he keeps an eye on what Clem is doing, making sure that he doesn't trade out too inefficiently. Because really, what is the best method of scouting in StarCraft? It's by attacking, you know, it's by sort of harassing, it's by doing all these things that put you in that position of harassing your opponent.
Alright, you know, here comes them DTs. As do we have any scan energy? Oh no, no scan energy.
Oh, no
no.
shield, excuse me, no missile turrets on the way either. So, oh, look at that, instantly 8 SCVs are going to go down. Immediately some missile turrets are going to start producing, but it is not going to be on time. I think Hero realizes this. He realizes that there is no energy anywhere to be found. So look at this. Pretty much all of Clem's mining is going to be stopped for the time being. This is going to cost, it's going to cost Clem a lot of mining time and a lot of SCVs.
Yeah, this is doing so much economic damage to Clem, and man, I mean, he caught Clem at the perfect time where he had no scan energy. Like Clem was just like, he just like popped a lot of muse, I believe, and yeah, that hit really hard.
I love that he got DC Blink. That is amazing. Just forcing more and more scans out of Clem. But is Clem's army going to be enough? He suffered a lot of economic damage. He took a lot of damage with his army as well. Now it looks like the Stalkers are going to be able to overwhelm this frontal line of Marauders. But Zealots are going to be warping in. They're going to come on forward. Another blink on forward. Immortal's over in the back, dealing consistent damage. Does Clem hold, or will Hero bring it back here in game number 4? Excuse me, game number 3.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's looking pretty good for Hero to pull out the victory here on game number 3, but as they all say, it all comes down to execution. And will Hero be able to force the GG from Clem? Looks like he's preparing an attack. +2, it's like really far from done, so I don't believe he's going to wait for that. But he's kind of just poking and prodding. And will he go for it, or will he just wait for those disruptors to arrive to the fight? I think maybe he'll just wait for those disruptors to join up with the rest of his army, because it's going to allow him to kind of zone the Marine and Marauders out.
Now, I do like this, sending even more DTs, taking down an entire mineral line's worth of SCVs, and a little bit of damage over in the main base as well. I mean, Clem is just not able to deal with this. He's going to have to lift up the 3rd command center. It just barely doesn't go down on health. Bio is going to force back the main army once again, but, I mean, Hero looking very strong here in game number 3. He's able to take these really efficient fights because he's just got so much in terms of that Stalker count. Disruptors are going to join the fight now as well. Those DTs, oh my gosh, they're still dealing damage over in the main base. Going to force Clem to pick up and boost into his own main base. Yeah, this is not looking good for our Blue Terran at all.
Yeah, I think his CC might even get sniped out, which would be really horrible considering Hero's sitting on 4 bases, and there we have it. Hero is going to go ahead and get the first points on the scoreboard for himself. Oh, let me go ahead and update the scoreboard. Just remembered about that. All right, there we go. All right, so Hero gonna go ahead and actually send a probe down here. Will this be for a Nexus, or will it be for a proxy?
My money's on a Nexus. I would totally do that. You know, it just seems like there are better proxy locations, and of course there are better obvious base locations, but the gold minerals, they do look pretty juicy, so... Oh, my bad. I think... Okay. Hero puts down a proxy pylon over at the gold base, so... I mean, we can't rule out a Nexus in the future, but he's for sure up to something here. Oh! The SCV might have seen the probe coming in from the left-hand side.
Oh, I don't think he paid attention.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, the SCV is just continuing to go across the map. Oh, wow. That might end up costing Clem here. And he's going to actually go for the Nexus as well, so I guess...
okay. Good stuff.
Yeah, good call there.
Yeah. Alright, so Clem sends in the SCV, sees that, you know, everything on the high ground is standard, but he does not see the low ground pylon or the low ground Nexus, so he's a little bit suspicious right now. Does feel confident enough to put down the low ground command center, but he's already started Marine production, delaying that reactor in favor of a factory, and then also getting up a bunker. I think the bunker is really important here. He just, you know, he's not really comfortable, but he also doesn't really know what to expect. So this is a pretty important move.
Yeah, I think when you find out that your protest opponent has no base at the natural, what would be the regular natural, I think his spidey senses are tingling, and so going to go ahead and take get a tech lab on that factory, get the Cyclone out, because of course Cyclone are one of those units that going to provide some really great defensive capabilities for the Terrans in the early game. And let's see how much damage the depths can do here. Only 3.
Oh wow, so they're actually going to complete the shade, recognizing that there are only a handful of Marines. So they're going to take care of the Marines pretty quickly. Looks like one of the Adepts will finally get killed off by the SCVs that were pulled off the line. But that's like literally all of the Marines dead. However, the Cyclone is out in time for the Shade as well. The Adepts do get up back into the main base, but they're not quite able to find any more damage. The SCVs are still being guided back. Yeah, so that Cyclone is gonna just sort of clean up everything on the high ground. Another Cyclone on the production tab as well, but so far maybe, I don't know, if I were Clem I'd be thinking, I kind of expected something a little bit more aggressive for a 1 base.
Yeah, unbeknownst to him, this is actually a 2 base Protoss, as the bottom left is still completely unscouted. And once again, Hero just keeping up with the pressure. However, I think with the Cyclones, Hero's got to be careful not to overextend, as those range on the Cyclones are just absolutely insane. So gotta make sure not to carelessly lose his units.
Yeah, for sure. I do like this move, very cute. You've got 3 Adepts to sort of play around with the Shades, and then you've got the Stalkers as the main army. So the Adepts are going to force a little bit of micro. Oh, they could have completed in the main base. They choose not to. The Cyclones are going to get their lock-ons on a couple of those Adepts. Stalkers are going to start eating some tank shots, but Clem is being denied a lot of mining time. Some SCVs go down as well. And now the low ground is basically completely in Hero's control. Cyclones are going to be repaired up by the SCVs, but this command center is getting pretty low on health. The SCVs finally come back down. Tank is also going to siege up on the low ground of on the low side of the ramp. But so far, I think Hero is feeling pretty decent about the amount of pressure that he's putting on Clem. Usually it would be Clem putting pressure on you in this matchup.
I know, right? Alright, War Prism does warp in the 3 Adepts. Now 3 Adepts does one-shot SCV, so this is a great number to have. But in the meantime, the Dark Shrine is actually about to finish, and that is going to be, I think, the key momentum changer. Because right now, Clem is still holding on. He hasn't lost anything too significant. I mean, 5 SCVs are not the greatest, but of course, they're still the Muse. But once those DTs are out, and I mean, there's no turrets, there's no energy for the scans. I mean, that could be troublesome. Although I do like Clem's positioning of those Marines, going to be able to kind of allow him to get on top of the War Prism. But if those DTs are warped in already, then, or sorry, those DTs are already warped in, and they're still going to be able to be dropped here.
Yeah, for sure. I think that Clem, he finally has an idea of what's up. The DTs are starting their work. Like you said, barely any energy. 1 scan does finally go down, but not before a few SCVs go down as well. And of course, there is that other DT forcing yet another scan, taking down the tank, but costing its own life. So all in all, this could have gone much worse for Clem. Good for him, he was able to get the missile turrets up in time. I was about to say that even though there was barely any energy, his other saving grace could be that NG Bay. And of course, he was able to take advantage of that. Hero gonna bring the Stalkers back on home. Not feeling too confident until he gets not just charge, not just +1 attack, but also DT Blink. So we might see a pretty powerful push, pretty powerful follow-up coming out for Hero pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, he's got his 3 Nexus established. He's got DT Blink as well. Yeah, I could definitely see him putting on some pressure, especially with that +1 upgrade of Battle Finish. That's going to allow him to have his units a bit more stronger. And once again, more DTs on the prowl. Now, of course, Clem did just scout with the Reaper that there is that gold base there. So Clem, he knows what's up, and ideally he should be attacking that pretty soon. You don't want your Protoss opponent to go crazy on the income, as we do see here that the majority of the game, Hero has enjoyed the economic advantage.
This one DT is actually going to bring home the entire army. I don't know if that was, I mean, you could call it lucky, you could call it, well, actually, you could call that unlucky, the Stalker being rallied straight into the bio. But yeah, it looks like now Hero suspects that the bio is coming across. The shield battery is going to get started. I don't know if it's going to be up in time. There is going to be another warp in of charge lots, but this is a kind of scary bio force. It does have stim, and concussive shells is just about to finish. So They're going to gun down that shield battery like no problem. The sentries do put down one force field. Not quite enough to keep back the bio. Okay, a good set of force fields. They're going to basically swipe off a whole chunk. But that medevac micro, Clem showcasing his excellent micro, able to just take care of all of those bio, bring them back on home. And Archon kind of randomly over at the front, or maybe not so randomly, I'm not actually sure, but it does get popped out
yeah,
of the bio.
That was definitely a random Archon.
Right.
You don't send the Archon to do a job as much as or like you don't send a Marine basically to kill your whole opponent's army. Similar to the Protoss, you don't send a single Archon. Although as good as Archons are, you know, they're not the units to end the game here. But anyhow, looks like more DTs once again, just absolutely annoying Clem, and there's still that army at the left side.
A couple of them also utilizing blinking up onto the high ground as well. Looks like it's going to be Hero pressing the advantage, and actually GG is going to be called. Hero highs up this series.
And already, Clem onto a little bit of shenanigans as he does a block off the natural. Now this is one of the maps that don't have like any gold bases on the edges onto the sides, such as we did have in the last game. So, you know, you're not going to be able to take advantage of a gold base, but you can take advantage of cheesy proxy play. And oh, looks like there was a little bit of a pause there. Luckily for us, we don't have to wait it out, as this is of course a replay cast.
Yeah, it's always entertaining to see just like a blast of text and try to interpret, especially in GSL matches or Korean based matches. You know, you see a bunch of Korean and it's like, huh, I wonder what they're talking about. But yeah, Clem putting down that NG bait, just being a little bit of a nuisance, right? Making sure that the Protoss is not able to take a quick Nexus at the same time. Hero, once again proxying, going for that proxy Stargate. SCV not quite on the path to find it. It is kind of far, I'm gonna admit. It's kind of like halfway between the two players, a little bit closer to Hero, I would say.
Yeah, definitely more closer to Hero's half of the map. And that's gonna force Clem to build that CC on the high ground instead of the low ground, which is you know, better safe than sorry, I suppose.
Yeah, speaking of safe, there's already a Cyclone out, so I wonder if Hero's gonna wait for another maybe 1 to 2 additional Oracles before he moves out. But no, it looks like he's gonna send in the first one. Oh, is he? Oh. Alright, I'm gonna eat my words. Looks like the Oracle's just gonna scout around, I guess?
Yeah, not quite. Oh, you know what? I think because the Adept did scout the front and saw maybe the Cyclone and was like, okay, yeah, this Oracle not gonna find damage, especially with only one Oracle, you know?
Right. Whereas we've seen in other games, 2 to 3 Oracles can burn down a Cyclone pretty easily as long as they jump on top of it.
Right. So Hero just thinking twice, like, okay, maybe I'll just use it defensively for now. Gonna throw down some stasis traps.
Yeah, you know, I honestly really like how this game started, because it started with both players, or at least Hero, you know, trying to posture for something a little bit more aggressive. Speaking of posturing, he's putting down yet another proxy pylon. I wonder what this one's for. SCV is still going to continue scouting around. Blink is going to be researched. A nice tag on all of the tech, confirming that it probably is STIM being researched. But yeah, basically what we're seeing is both players adapting in real time and then reacting to each other's reactions. I think that's so cool. I think that's such a high level thing.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, apologies for a little bit of ambulance noise in the background, but hopefully that will pass up by on soon. I live near I guess like a parkway or of some sort, so there's a lot of cars that sometimes come by, but Hopefully, it's not too loud. But anyhow, looks like Blink is about to be finished, and yeah, looks like that proxy pylon gonna be used in for some Stalker warpins. As I'm assuming that Orgo will be used to get some high ground vision. And you know what? This is not a bad map actually, as I look at it, to go for Blink Stalkers. The main base is so huge, and a lot of areas to cover. You can't really cover with only like 1 or 2 tanks.
Yep.
If you do pull all 2 tanks in the main base, then he can just easily blink into the natural instead. So here we go.
Oh, that one poor Stalker not able to join its brothers up in the fight. But now it's just going to be Stim Bio versus these Blink Stalkers. Blink Stalkers doing a good job of keeping themselves alive. Hero so far not losing any, actually. A lot of them getting pretty low on health, but they will be able to regenerate shields at the same time. Cyclones did get a little bit caught out in front. Ooh, an aggressive blink forward going to cost Hero a couple of Stalkers in return for 1 Cyclone. At the same time, a few SCVs going down. Oh, I think that was an Oracle, probably. Oh, I'm not too sure, actually.
Yeah, not quite sure. But it looks like Hero trying to keep up the pressure. He's forcing Clem to use a lot of Stim, so Clem's got to be careful. Although, as I say that, it looks like 2 medevacs is about to pop out of that starport, so should be able to offer him some healing capabilities. And Hero once again gonna hit the fronts, just poking and prodding in and out, not committed to all in, as all he needs to do is just make sure he saves his injured Stalkers. I mean, he has 3 bases, he has a healthy economy, he doesn't need to go all in on this.
Yeah, definitely. We're seeing that trademark Blink Stalker micro. This is a very... It reminds me a lot of Parting before he left for military service, right? Wasn't the 4-gate like his thing, right? Where you get 4 gates and you go kind of aggressive with the Stalkers, but at the same time, ooh, nice blink dodge on the Widowmine. And now look at this, a bunch of Stalkers. They're actually going to be able to contest the low ground completely for a little bit, putting some damage on that command center. But yeah, as I was saying, you know, it's really feels like that Parting type of style, but something that I personally can never replicate because I have so much trouble knowing when to get my 3rd Nexus. And Hero just, you know, he's already got it up, he's already got it running, like, it's no problem for him.
Alright, so charge.
You know what?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Like, I mean, as you just said, charge, right? So, I don't know, maybe Hero is a little bit more committed to this than we think, right? He's adding on a couple of gates, but he's really just taking advantage of the sheer number of Stalkers. I think he's about to overwhelm Clem. Looks like this could be a reverse all kill, right? I mean, SCVs are being pulled, a lot of them are going down. Bio is trying to hold up. Now it's just some Marauders left, and they do excellent against Stalkers, but not so much against charge lots. Wow, look at that. GG is called. Hero takes back this series.